Well, I think it's about time we open our eyes once again to take a closer look at the NetPliance eye opener that I did a video on recently. And just to give you a little recap, we explored the history of this fascinating internet appliance that was originally sold as a loss leader for just $99. And it quickly became extremely popular, but just not for the reasons that the company had hoped, because when people found out that you could make some simple modifications and install Windows or Linux on these things, yeah, they pretty much flew off the shelves and cost the company a lot of money as a result. And if you want to get the full story, you can go ahead and check out that episode up in the cards. But today, as promised, we're going to be revisiting the installation of Windows 98 that I got running on here, and we'll see just what kind of performance we can get out of this thing. Sponsored by Linode, cloud computing from Akamai. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. So to start this one off, we're going to be taking apart this eye opener once again because I got a really surprising email after I published my original video on this thing. Now if you remember during the modding portion of that episode, I mentioned that a guy by the name of Ken Segler was the first person who published his findings on how to modify these things to run another operating system. He was even featured in a segment of the screensavers that aired on Tech TV back in the day, and he began selling these $35 kits that included basically everything you'd need to mount a hard drive inside your eye opener, minus the actual hard drive. Well, he actually saw my video and sent me an email basically saying, "Hey, I think I might have one of those modding kits lying around." So he sent me one. This right here is the iMod 3, so it's one of the later revisions of this kit. And I gotta give a huge thanks to Ken for sending this out to me because this is gonna give us a look at a route that somebody could have taken back in the early 2000s to install a hard drive in their eye opener and get another OS running on this thing. It's gonna be super cool. So let's go ahead and open this up and I'll show you what we've got contained within. So there are two main components to the third version of the iMod kit. The first is the fan, which replaces the pretty large fanless heatsink that is currently in the eye opener. And this will accomplish a couple of things. First of all, it will give us airflow because there's no fan in this thing at all. And if you're going to be running, like I mentioned in the last video, if you're going to be running Windows 98 or Linux and doing some more CPU intensive tasks, you would definitely want to get some airflow going in there. So this is definitely going to help out with that. And this will also hopefully allow us to put the metal shielding back in that I had to remove, because apparently the way this works is you don't have to actually cut any holes in this at all. You just put the fan, it kind of sits right up against these holes here that are already in the heatsink, and it pushes air out that way and then out the back of the case. So that will definitely be very nice. But the other reason why I want to get this back in the eye opener is because I didn't realize it at the time, but if you have this removed and you try to go ahead and mount the eye opener back on its stand, you can't do it. So the eye opener is just resting on the stand right now. I can go ahead and take it off and it just comes right off. So yeah, you can't properly mount it back to the stand when you don't have the metal shielding in there. So this will hopefully allow us to get that back into place, and it will also allow us to mount the hard drive properly so it's not just jankily sitting in there between the two plastic pieces like it is right now. And that is accomplished by this bracket here. So there's where it plugs into the motherboard, and then on this side you've got where you plug your 2.5-inch hard drive into. And this board also doubles as a 44-pin to 40-pin IDE adapter so that you could plug that 2.5-inch hard drive into your desktop computer to install an operating system on it, which is the ideal way of doing that because there's no optical drive or anything in the eye opener. So it's best to have the OS already installed and set up and then just plug that drive into the eye opener so you're all set up and ready to go. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and take apart the eye opener once again, and we'll see how easy it is to install this thing. So there's the back plate. We'll set that aside. And here is our really jankily mounted hard drive. If you didn't see the last video, literally what I did is I just have the hard drive resting in here, pressed against these, or pressed between these two plastic pieces. And it does work rather well. It actually keeps the drive from rattling around, which is nice. But we're going to go ahead and remove the heatsink. Alright, so we've got the heatsink off, thermal paste removed. Now we're going to switch attention to the bracket here. And the guide is still up. It has been archived by the Wayback Machine, so that's what I'm referring to. But all we got to do is plug the drive into the board here. And in this bag, we've got a few screws, and it looks like we got some washers as well. We'll just go ahead and pour all this out here. So we have to use these 3 black screws to secure the drive. We flip it over to the back here. This one up here is cut a little bit off. You see, it's just slightly off, so I might have to just do without that one. But, you know, we got 2 in. That's pretty good. I mean, that's going to be secure enough. So, yeah, that's not going anywhere. And we can completely get rid of the crossover cable that we used in the last video because this adapter handles that for us. We're going to go ahead and just align the adapter here. And there we go. So you see it lines up with these 2 standoffs here. So those are where we got to put the other 2 screws. And this just looks like it should latch on to the side like that. If I can get it in. I know I have to put on thermal paste. I'm just kind of just testing this here. Yep, that's how it goes on. So let's get some thermal paste here. And let me just use some isopropyl on the CPU here. Just get up all that residue. And there we go. It's on. So now we just got to connect the wire here. Make sure we're wiring this to the correct side. And let's just do a quick power on test to verify that the fan works. Yep, there it is. It's powering on. So, yep, the fan's running, the hard drive is running, and right here, this LED is your drive indicator light, you know, whenever you're reading or writing data to the hard drive. And you see on the front here of the eye opener, if I flip this up, that's now the drive indicator light. I think that's a really nice nice addition there. I didn't even realize that this was included in here, but yeah, so that's now your drive indicator light. So we're gonna go ahead and flip this back over, and we'll just power it off for us because the power button was hit when it touched the table. So we'll go ahead and remove the power connector there, and let's see if we can get the metal shielding back on. Yeah, I think that's gonna work just fine. Oh, and I gotta remove these here because I put these back on when I put it back together without it. Alright, let's try that again. Yeah, that is flush. That's gonna work out super nice. Okay, that's awesome. And there we go. It is secure to the stand once more, which is awesome. So now let's boot this thing up and start messing around with Windows 98. Alright, so we've got the eye opener all set up, and there's been a decent amount of time that's passed in between these 2 clips because I've done a lot of work on this thing. Because, well, first off, I had to actually swap out the hard drive because the original one I had in here was showing signs of failure. It was kind of like intermittently working. So that actually ended up being fine because I wanted to reinstall Windows 98 anyways, because when I first installed it on the drive that used to be in here, I did not copy over the Win98 folder from the setup disk, and I did the last portion of the setup on the eye opener. I'd put the drive back in here. So that means it installed with a bunch of drivers missing. So I copied that over to the hard drive, went through the setup process again, and it was able to get drivers for everything except the display adapter. So we've got sound working. If I like open up Run here and type in a bunch of gibberish, you'll hear that, yep, we got sound, which is awesome. The display driver, I had to download one and just copy it over here myself. The video adapter in here is a Trident Cyberblade i7, not an Intel i7, but a Trident Cyberblade i7 8420 mobile video adapter that you might find in a laptop. And that's the thing about the eye opener. This is pretty much like a laptop with half of it cut off and then attached to a stand, because you've got laptop grade hardware in here, including the passive matrix display that we have here, which, as you can imagine, will make gaming, especially in like FPS games and things like that, pretty annoying. And we'll kind of demo that in a little bit here. But let's take a look. Let me just open up Device Manager here, and I can show you what we've got going on. And I'll show you the sound adapter. We've got a Yamaha sound adapter in here, and this is the driver that it installed. And the display adapter, like I said, is the one that I had to install manually. So this is what it is specifically. I'll leave the link to this driver down below below if anybody happens to be running Windows 98 on an eye opener and wants to get what I believe to be, anyway, the best driver that's available for this, because this allows us to go up to 800 by 600 at 16-bit color. Now, you can increase this slider a little bit more, like we can go to 1024 by 768 and hit apply, but it will, the image will go off the screen here. But yeah, that's the display properties. And I mean, I've been using this system for a little while off camera, and it works just like you'd expect kind of a low-end Windows 98 machine to work. And if you had a modem or a phone line that you could plug into this to connect via dial-up, you could get online, or you could install a Ethernet adapter if you really wanted to. Obviously, expansion options on this thing are going to be pretty limited. What most people did is they would just get a USB hub and plug that into the single USB port on the back, and then try to just do everything over USB. But the one thing that I did do is, you can see over here on the right side, I purchased a PS2 splitter so that we can get a regular keyboard and mouse connected to this thing. Now, at first, I thought that this thing did not work because it just wouldn't, like, I would plug this in, I'd plug the keyboard mouse into it, and it has the ports labeled, like one's for keyboard and one's for mouse, but only the mouse would work and not the keyboard. And I tried this on a separate computer as well, thinking it might have been something with the eye opener, and no, it's the same exact thing happened. What I had to do is actually swap what port that I plug these devices into. So I've got the mouse plugged into the keyboard port and the keyboard plugged into the mouse port, and that actually allows both of them to work. So there's some jankiness going on with this adapter here, but I will leave the link to the one that I purchased down below as well. It's on Amazon for like under $10. But yeah, just keep that in mind if you end up buying this to use with something. Now let's move on to games and applications, because I've been trying off camera to just get a bunch of different stuff installed on here. And for the most part, I've been unsuccessful. Even with this, you probably saw in here in programs, I've got this old copy of 3D Mark 99, which, lovely fact, by the way, they've got all these old versions of 3D Mark available for free on the website. So I'll leave that down below as well. And they got a key and everything. You just download it and use it if you want to, benchmark old hardware with it. Couldn't even get the benchmarking software to run on here, though. And I tried to run kind of some late 90s, mid to late 90s era Windows games, including Lego Island and Half-Life, two very similar games, obviously. And both of them did not work. Lego Island would not even start, no matter how I configured the video settings. And Half-Life does actually open up. It's just completely unplayable. So we'll go in here. The other thing, too, is I had to get a no CD patch for Half-Life, because normally it requires the disc to be inserted in the drive. And so does Lego Island as well, but there's a bit of a way around that, just copying files over from the disk to the hard drive. But yeah, that's another thing you'd have to keep in mind with the eye opener, is there's no optical drive or anything in here. So if you wanted to use this thing to play games that required that, you'd have to get some sort of no CD patch, or just not play them. And as you're going to see in a moment here, the latter is probably the more preferred option. So we'll try to open up Half-Life here. I'm sure that you could, install an optical drive in here somehow if you want to really mod this thing and tear it apart even more. But like I said, I want to keep this thing as intact as possible. So again, we got sound working, but you can see how laggy the Sierra logo is here. So we're off to a wonderful start so far. And now I can actually hit escape because I've got a regular keyboard plugged in here. I was playing this before using the eye opener keyboard, or trying to play it, and there's no escape key on there, so you couldn't bypass the the intro video, which is lovely. So yeah, the menu here loads up. We can go to configuration, and I'll show you how I've got this set up. So we go to video, and I've got this at like the lowest possible resolution. So we've got it at 320 by 240. Direct 3D, because we've got DirectX on here. So we'll hit done. We'll do new game, and actually we'll just do the hazard course. See, it resizes to our super low resolution for us. And oh yeah, check out how slow that the loading screen goes up. I mean, I'm moving this thing around, and like we're not. It's just being ultra slow. It's just basically unplayable. So Yeah, not a great sign at all. Now, if you were curious, I did try the other video modes as well, but they did not yield any better results, which honestly is not that surprising. And I should mention that this is in no way going to be like a Gamer's Nexus level, like benchmark of this computer. I'm really just going to be running a couple programs and showing you kind of what you can expect just by trying to play a few different games on this thing. Not that I was expecting it to run Half-Life at all. I was honestly surprised it even opened up because this hardware is just inadequate for running it. That's just the fact of the matter. But it can run older DOS games like Doom. So here's Doom. We got sound and music working, which is awesome. We'll just do a new game here. We'll do Knee Deep in the Dead. I do have it set to just MIDI for the music. But yeah, you can see runs totally fine. Of course, with us having this passive matrix display, it's, you know, not the greatest playthrough experience, but you can definitely play it. You know, FPS is totally fine. Let's just kind of go through this level a little bit here. You know, I guess we'll just go through the first level. Every time that I play Doom, I always end up doing, like, Knee Deep in the Dead. Just going through, sometimes the first couple levels. Back when I did this on Web TV, which, oh my gosh, was that an experience. That is still, I think, my favorite, my favorite way I've ever played Doom was on Web TV with the TV remote. And the fact that that's even possible is just absolutely hilarious. So, yeah, we'll go through here. Get this guy. Yeah, there you go. Okay. And there we go. Complete. Man, that's like a new personal best for me. Under a minute, really. Wow. I've also got Heretic on here, which I never actually really played Heretic. But here it is. And I don't think I've got... Yeah, I don't think the sound effects are working, unfortunately. Yeah, that's actually kind of annoying. But yeah, I mean, you see it just, like... Especially with these enemies, like, it's just, like, they just, all this ghosting going on. I mean, it's just pretty unbearable. I mean, I, like, say that, and then I actually completed Doom, in, like, less than a minute there. Yeah, I think I've maybe played Heretic, like, once in my entire life. I never, yeah. Oh, can we just go to, oh, yeah, we can do that. Okay, that, that helps. I was thinking this was, like, water or something we couldn't go into. I need a yellow key to open this door. All right, we gotta find the yellow key. Oh, what's this? Quartz flask. Okay. Ah, we can go this way. That's what we have to do. I just completely went the... I completely bypassed the, like, this platform I'm on, which, just because it was kind of hard to see with all the moving around. Alright. There's the key. Look at that. Oh, and there's a guy behind me. Gee, I wish I could hear... Yeah, I did not configure sound correctly on this thing. But I'm too late into the game now. I mean, not really. We're not even past the first level. Okay, so now we should be able to unlock this door here. And, oh, okay. Yeah, that's what you get. I actually don't know how long this level is. I'm probably gonna... Well, let's see. Let's see, see what we can do here. Oh, I just died. Okay, that works. But, you know, those are both DOS-era games, so it's honestly not surprising that they run just fine on here. Just for some fun, I also have Classic Cube on here. I did a video on Classic Cube back a couple months ago now, I think. This is that kind of Minecraft clone of sorts. So here it is. I've already got all the resources downloaded because I ran the executable on another computer with internet access first. So we're just going to do Classic here. We'll do single player, and we'll see, you see the hard drive access light is blinking. I really love that. Like, I can't get over how clever that is. All right, we got a whole 1 FPS. Let's go. Yeah, it's really struggling here. Where am I? Am I, like, underwater or something? I hit escape about 30 seconds ago. Okay, options menu finally loaded up. Let's go to, or the game menu. Can we hit options? Yeah, this is just honestly cruel what I'm doing to this computer at the moment. It cannot run this game. But hey, it's given us 1 FPS. I mean, I'm honestly surprised that it even loaded up. But I'm trying to go to options here because I want to see if we can get this thing to 2 FPS if we lower some settings. Oh, render distance far. Oh my gosh. No, we cannot have... We cannot have render distance on far. Yeah, there's a lot of delay here with what option it's hovering over. It's still hovering over the invert mouse. Yeah, I'm feeling it back here. It is really, really hot. This is very cruel what I'm doing to this thing. So it's at tiny render distance now. I don't think that's gonna make a difference. I really don't. It's it's still, let's just force quit this. Oh my gosh. I feel really bad for this computer. Okay, can let it breathe for a second there. Yeah, so, but hey, it can run Classic Cube. Technically, it can open the program and give you 1 FPS. But hey, as a little DOS gaming system, I mean, you might want to swap out the display. And, you know, again, if you bought this back in 1999 for $100, and, you know, bought this kit, I mean, it's super easy to install like you saw. If you did that, I mean, you would have a really, really nice computer to give to your kids, maybe just to like run some, you know, educational software on, maybe to have in your kitchen. Apparently, there were even people putting these things in their cars back then, which is a really clever use for this thing, for sure. I mean, you can see how versatile and how many things that you could use the eye opener for. And speaking of versatility, the cloud computing services offered by today's video sponsor Linode are extremely versatile because you can use them for just about anything. Whether you're looking to host a simple website or a complex application, Linode has you covered with their affordable Linux virtual machines. Plus, they've got the tools and infrastructure you need to scale and deploy your project with a worldwide network of data centers, all equipped with enterprise-level capabilities like Kubernetes, load balancers, and object storage. And with their predictable, no lock-in pricing, you can start small and upgrade to a higher tier in the future if your needs increase. For the past 2 decades, they've been making cloud computing affordable, accessible, and simple. And they'd love to have you try them out, so as a thank you for watching this video, if you sign up for a new Linode account by clicking my link below, you'll receive a 60-day $100 credit to give them a test drive for completely free. So whatever your hosting needs might be, go ahead and check them out. And huge thanks again to Linode for making this episode possible. But yeah, there you have it, guys. That is a little follow-up to my original eye opener video, just messing around with this thing some more, you know, installing some programs. I got to give a huge thank you again to Ken Segler for sending me this adapter. It was insane that he still had one of those things. It was insane that he saw the video in the first place. So huge thank you, Ken. That was really awesome of you. And huge thank you to all of you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this one, be sure to give it a thumbs up, get subscribed, all that good stuff. And if you really enjoyed this video and want to get early access to my future episodes, I do have a Patreon down below that you can check out. But either way, that's going to wrap it up for me. And as always, I will see you all in the next video.